My dear brothers and sisters, we thank our God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the God who is love, for gathering us as a family of faith.
What if the next pope could change the course of the Catholic Church forever? Across the world, whispers are growing, and a single name keeps rising above the rest. Could this be the man chosen to lead over 1 billion faithful into a new era? There's been talk, speculation, and even a few cryptic words that might hold the answer to why Cardinal Luis Tagle will be the next pope, so let's dive into details. Understanding the papacy, the winds of change are sweeping through the Vatican. Every time the papal seat opens, the world holds its breath, wondering who will lead the Catholic Church next, with whispers, traditions, and divine influence guiding the process. One name keeps echoing in the hallowed halls of the Vatican: Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. Will this charismatic, globally beloved cardinal be the next pope? Sources close to the very top of the Vatican say that the choice is made. But before we get to why he is the perfect fit, we must talk about what role does the Pope actually hold. The Pope holds one of the most profound and influential roles in the world. As the spiritual leader of over 1.3 billion Catholics, he is more than just the head of the Catholic Church. He is a global symbol of unity, hope, and continuity. Rooted in history and faith, the papacy serves as both a bridge to tradition and a beacon of guidance for the future. The origins of the papal office trace back nearly 2,000 years to St. Peter, one of Jesus Christ's 12 apostles. According to Catholic tradition, Jesus entrusted Peter with the leadership of the early Christian community, famously declaring, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." Peter became the first bishop of Rome, and his successors, an unbroken line of popes, are seen as the spiritual heirs to this divine mandate. This historical continuity gives the Pope a unique role in the Church. As the Vicar of Christ, he is regarded as Christ's representative on earth, a figure of immense spiritual authority. At the same time, the Pope is also a temporal leader, navigating the complex realities of modern society. The responsibilities of the Pope are as diverse as they are significant, encompassing spiritual guidance, diplomatic engagement, and moral leadership. As the supreme teacher of the Catholic faith, the Pope sets the theological direction and pastoral priorities for the global Church. Through encyclicals, homilies, and apostolic letters, he provides clarity on matters of faith and doctrine. His teachings influence not only the Church, but also broader discussions on ethics and morality. Beyond the Church, the Pope acts as a bridge builder among nations, engaging in diplomatic efforts to promote peace and understanding. The Vatican maintains formal diplomatic relations with over 180 countries, giving the Pope a unique platform to address global conflicts, mediate disputes, and advocate for the marginalized. In addition to his spiritual and diplomatic roles, the Pope often speaks out on issues like climate change, human rights, and poverty. His moral voice resonates far beyond the confines of the Catholic Church, inspiring individuals and leaders across the globe to act for the common good. The papacy is considered a divine calling. Catholics believe the Pope is chosen through the guidance of the Holy Spirit, ensuring that the Church's leadership aligns with God's will. This spiritual dimension imbues the papal office with a sense of sacredness and purpose that goes beyond the ordinary. However, the challenges of the modern world require the Pope to balance tradition with adaptability. Whether addressing the digital age, interfaith dialogue, or social justice, the Pope's decisions and actions reverberate across every corner of the globe. However, despite the stability associated with the papal office, it is not a permanent role. The seat of the Pope, known as the Holy See, becomes vacant under two circumstances: the Pope's death or his resignation. Historically, most popes have served until their death. However, in 2013, Pope Benedict XVI made the extraordinary decision to resign, citing his advanced age and declining strength. His resignation was unprecedented in modern times, showcasing the human dimension of the papacy and the immense pressures it entails. When the seat becomes vacant, the world's attention turns to the solemn and secretive process of choosing a new pope, a decision that carries immense weight for the Catholic Church and the global community alike. But before we explain how the new pope is chosen, let's talk a bit more about the current head of the Vatican City and the Catholic Church, Pope Francis. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, known to the world as Pope Francis, has become one of the most transformative and inspiring figures of our time. Elected in 2013 as the 266th Pope of the Catholic Church, he made history in multiple ways. As the first Jesuit Pope, the first from the Americas, and the first to choose the name Francis in honor of St. Francis of Assisi, his papacy signaled a bold new chapter for the Church. From the very beginning, Pope Francis captivated the world with his warmth, humility, and vision for a church that stands alongside the most vulnerable members of society. Francis's leadership has been nothing short of revolutionary. Breaking with centuries-old traditions, he has made it his mission to reframe the Catholic Church as a haven of mercy and inclusivity. His approach has often been described as a pastoral papacy, one focused not on institutional authority, but on meeting people where they are, with compassion and understanding. This shift has earned him admiration far beyond the Catholic community, making him a global moral leader in an increasingly polarized world. One of the most striking aspects of Pope Francis's leadership is his emphasis on humility. From the moment he was elected, he set the tone for his papacy by refusing many of the trappings of power traditionally associated with the role. Rather than living in the opulent apostolic palace, he chose a modest apartment in the Vatican's Santa Marta guest house, where he eats in a communal dining hall and interacts with staff and visitors daily. This decision, simple yet profound, sent a powerful message about his commitment to living in solidarity with the people he serves. For Francis, humility is not just a virtue, it is a way of life rooted in the teachings of Christ. This commitment to humility extends to his broader advocacy for the poor and marginalized, which has been a cornerstone of his papacy.
Belief is a strong element that unifies us. Terrorism and extremism has nothing to do with religion.
Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, to a working-class family, Francis witnessed firsthand the struggles of the economically disadvantaged. These early experiences shaped his lifelong dedication to social justice. As Pope, he has consistently championed the cause of the poor, denouncing economic inequality as a scandal and urging world leaders to adopt policies that prioritize human dignity over profit. His writings, such as the encyclical Evangelii Gaudium or the Joy of the Gospel, emphasize the Church's responsibility to be a poor church for the poor, echoing the spirit of St. Francis of Assisi, his namesake. Beyond material poverty, Pope Francis has also addressed the many forms of exclusion that afflict modern society. He has opened the door to discussions that were once considered taboo within the Church, signaling a more progressive tone on issues such as individual sexuality rights, divorce, and interfaith dialogue. While remaining faithful to Catholic doctrine, Francis has shown a willingness to engage with the complexities of contemporary life in a way that prioritizes compassion over judgment. His famous statement, "Who am I to judge?" in reference to LGBTQ Catholics seeking God, marked a dramatic shift in tone from his predecessors and resonated deeply with a global audience. Under Francis's leadership, the Church has also made significant strides in fostering interfaith dialogue. In an era of rising religious tensions, he has worked tirelessly to build bridges between different faith traditions.
It's day 2 of Pope Francis's historic visit to Iraq. He's aiming to rally the country's minority Christian community.
His historic meeting with Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani in Iraq and his joint declaration on human fraternity with Sheikh Ahmed el-Tayeb, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, are powerful examples of his commitment to peace and mutual understanding. These efforts have positioned the Catholic Church as a key player in promoting global harmony and cooperation. However, Pope Francis's progressive stance has not been without controversy. Within the Church, he has faced resistance from more conservative factions who view his reforms as a departure from tradition. His efforts to decentralize church governance, increase the role of women in church leadership, and address clergy essay scandals have sparked heated debates. Yet Francis remains undeterred, grounded in his conviction that the Church must evolve to meet the needs of the modern world while remaining true to its spiritual roots. As inspiring as his leadership has been, Pope Francis is now in his late 80s, and his advancing age and health challenges have sparked speculation about the future of the papacy. He has been candid about the toll of his responsibilities and the possibility of stepping down if he feels he can no longer serve effectively. In this, he follows the precedent set by Pope Benedict XVI, whose resignation in 2013 paved the way for Francis's election. Behind the scenes, there are whispers that Francis has begun contemplating his successor, someone who can carry forward his vision of a more inclusive and global church. Insiders suggest that Francis is deeply invested in ensuring that the next pope will continue his work of reform, prioritizing the poor, promoting social justice, and fostering unity within the Church. His remarks and actions have hinted at a desire to see a leader who embodies the same spirit of humility and compassion that has defined his papacy. As the Church looks toward the future, the question remains: who will carry forward Pope Francis's mission? Will it really be Cardinal Luis Tagle? The answer may well determine the course of the Catholic Church for generations to come. But how exactly is a new pope even chosen? How the pope is chosen? The election of a new pope is one of the most sacred and secretive events in the world, steeped in centuries-old traditions and rituals. Known as the conclave, this process is a unique blend of divine guidance, historical precedent, and human decision-making, designed to ensure that the leader of the Catholic Church is chosen with great care and reverence. The conclave captures global attention not only because of its significance for Catholics, but also because of its intrigue and mystery. The process begins when the papal seat, known as the Holy See, becomes vacant. As I have already explained, this can happen in two ways: the death of the reigning pope or his resignation. While most popes throughout history have served until their death, Pope Benedict XVI's resignation in 2013 demonstrated that even this ancient role can adapt to modern realities. Once the seat is vacant, the Church enters a period of sede vacante, meaning the seat is empty, during which preparations for the conclave begin. During this time, the governance of the Church is overseen by the College of Cardinals, the body responsible for electing the new pope. The cardinals are senior church leaders, most of whom serve as bishops or in key roles within the Vatican. Not all cardinals participate in the conclave. Only those under the age of 80 are eligible to vote.
A night of excitement and a night of firsts. 1.2 billion Catholics rejoice as the 266th Pope is chosen. And what a surprising choice it really was.
Currently, there are approximately 120 eligible cardinals, representing the global reach of the Church. These men come from diverse cultural and geographical backgrounds, reflecting the universality of Catholicism. The cardinals convene in Rome and enter the conclave, which takes place within the Sistine Chapel, one of the Vatican's most iconic spaces. Before the voting begins, the cardinals take an oath of secrecy, promising not to reveal any details of their discussions or votes. This vow underscores the solemnity of the process and protects the integrity of the election. But this is where it gets really interesting. The word conclave itself comes from the Latin cum clave, meaning with a key, signifying the locked doors behind which the election occurs. The voting process is both simple and symbolic. Each cardinal writes the name of his chosen candidate on a ballot, which is then folded and placed into a chalice. The ballots are counted and the results are tallied. If no candidate receives the required two-thirds majority, the process is repeated until a consensus is reached. After each round of voting, the ballots are burned in a stove connected to a chimney visible to the public in St. Peter's Square. Black smoke indicates that no pope has been elected, while white smoke announces the successful election of a new leader. Beyond the practical mechanics of voting, the conclave is imbued with a deep sense of spirituality. For Catholics, the election is not merely a political or administrative process, but an event guided by the Holy Spirit. The cardinals are called to prayer and reflection, seeking divine wisdom to help them discern the best choice for the Church. The atmosphere within the Sistine Chapel, surrounded by Michelangelo's breathtaking frescoes depicting the Last Judgment and the creation of Adam.
The center panel of the ceiling is the most famous, depicting God creating Adam.
Serves as a powerful reminder of the gravity of their decision. The criteria for choosing a pope are not explicitly defined, leaving room for the cardinals to weigh various factors. They consider the candidate's theological knowledge, pastoral experience, diplomatic skills, and vision for the future of the Church. In recent years, there has been increasing emphasis on selecting a pope
in the Sistine Chapel every day until they've chosen a pope
who can address contemporary challenges such as declining church attendance, scandals, and the need for greater inclusivity. Once a cardinal secures the necessary majority, he is asked if he accepts the role. If he agrees, he chooses a papal name, a tradition dating back to Pope John II in the 6th century. The new pope is then dressed in white vestments, prepared specifically for the occasion, and presented to the world from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica with the announcement, Habemus Papam, we have a pope.
I announce to you a great joy. We have a pope.
I announce to you good news. We have a pope.
The election of a pope is a moment of great significance, not only for the Catholic Church, but for the entire world. The pope serves as a spiritual guide for millions, a moral voice on global issues, and a symbol of continuity in an ever-changing world. The conclave's secrecy and symbolism add to its mystique, but at its heart, it is a deeply spiritual process, rooted in the belief that the Holy Spirit works through the cardinals to provide the Church with the leader it needs at that moment in history. While the conclave remains faithful to centuries-old traditions, it also reflects the evolving nature of the Church. The growing diversity among the cardinals, with representatives from Asia, Africa, Latin America, and beyond, signals the Church's increasingly global character. This shift suggests that future popes may continue to break from the European-dominated history of the papacy, as seen with the election of Pope Francis, the first pope from the Americas. As the Catholic Church looks to the future, the conclave remains a process that combines reverence for the past with hope for the future, ensuring that the Church's leadership is chosen with prayerful consideration and a sense of divine purpose. When the white smoke rises, the world knows that a new chapter has begun, led by a man who carries the weight of history and the hopes of billions on his shoulders, the candidates. As the Catholic Church looks toward the future, the question of who will succeed Pope Francis looms large. With the Pope now in his late 80s and facing health challenges, speculation has intensified about which cardinal might take up the mantle of leadership when the time comes. The next pope will inherit not only the spiritual responsibilities of the Church, but also the complex task of addressing its evolving role in a rapidly changing world. Besides Cardinal Louis Tagle, only a handful of names consistently rise to prominence. One prominent contender is Cardinal Pietro Parolin of Italy. As the Vatican's Secretary of State, Pietro is widely respected for his diplomatic acumen and experience managing the Church's complex global relations. His ability to navigate delicate situations, such as brokering agreements with China and addressing international conflicts, positions him as a steady and pragmatic leader. Pietro has all the qualities of a traditional pope, with a focus on maintaining the Church's role as a stabilizing force in global affairs. Another strong candidate is Cardinal Mark Ouellet from Canada. A theological scholar and the head of the Vatican's Congregation for Bishops, Mark has significant influence over the appointment of bishops worldwide, a role that has shaped his deep understanding of the Church's challenges and opportunities. His intellectual depth and administrative expertise make him a compelling choice for those seeking a leader grounded in doctrinal integrity, yet capable of addressing the Church's modern needs. Cardinal Christoph Schönborn of Austria is also frequently mentioned as a potential pope. Known for his intellectual rigor and pastoral sensitivity, Christoph has been an influential figure in interfaith dialogue, particularly with the Jewish and Muslim communities.
All over the world, in all humanity, there's a religious sense. Of course, some people in the world deny the existence of the divine, and we have to respect their conscience and their conviction. But generally speaking, every human being has a religious sense, a sense for the divine.
His ability to bridge divides and foster mutual understanding aligns with the Church's mission to promote peace and reconciliation in an increasingly polarized world. However, no candidate has generated as much excitement and anticipation as Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle of the Philippines. Often referred to as the Asian Pope Francis, Antonio is admired for his charisma, humility, and ability to connect with people from all walks of life. As the head of Caritas Internationalis, the Church's global humanitarian organization, he has demonstrated a profound commitment to social justice and the poor. Luis's leadership style mirrors that of Pope Francis, emphasizing compassion, inclusivity, and a deep understanding of the Church's global nature. The selection of the next pope will undoubtedly reflect the Church's priorities for the future. As the cardinals gather in the next conclave, they will weigh the candidate's theological convictions, pastoral experience, and capacity to navigate the Church's role on the world stage. But what if the decision has already been made? The next pope. Here's why Cardinal Luis Tagle will be the next pope. As I said, among the many names circulating as potential successors to Pope Francis, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle stands out as a rare transformative figure. Affectionately known as the Asian Pope Francis, Luis embodies the humility, compassion, and progressive vision that have defined Francis's papacy. His journey is as inspiring as his potential. Born in Manila, Philippines in 1957, he grew up in a modest household, experiencing firsthand the challenges faced by the poor. This background profoundly shaped his priorities as a priest and later as a cardinal. Ordained in 1982, he quickly gained recognition for his theological brilliance and deep empathy for the marginalized. Over the years, Luis became known for his ability to connect with people from all walks of life, using his warmth and storytelling to communicate complex spiritual ideas in a way that resonates universally. In 2012, Pope Benedict XVI elevated him to the rank of cardinal, recognizing his exceptional leadership and pastoral qualities. Since then, Luis has risen to prominence not only within the Church, but also on the global stage. As president of Caritas Internationalis, the Church's global humanitarian organization, he has spearheaded efforts to combat poverty, address climate change,
The start of a long-term shift in how to tackle climate change. The Catholic Church stands with those who are committed.
and provide aid to those affected by natural disasters and conflict. His work reflects a deep commitment to social justice, echoing the priorities of Pope Francis and aligning with the Church's mission to serve the least among us. One of his most compelling qualities, however, is his ability to bridge cultures and perspectives. Hailing from Asia, where the Catholic Church is a growing yet underrepresented force, Luis symbolizes the global nature of Catholicism in the 21st century. His election would mark a significant departure from the Eurocentric history of the papacy, signaling a commitment to inclusivity and recognition of the Church's diversity. Fluent in multiple languages, including English, Italian, and Tagalog, Luis effortlessly connects with people across cultural and linguistic boundaries, making him an ideal leader for an increasingly interconnected world. His leadership style also mirrors the pastoral approach championed by Pope Francis. He is known for his humility, often traveling without fanfare, and engaging directly with communities in need. His homilies emphasize mercy, inclusion, and the importance of listening to those on the margins of society. Luis has also shown a willingness to engage with contemporary issues, calling for open and compassionate dialogue on matters such as migration, interfaith relations, and economic inequality. This progressive tone has endeared him to younger generations of Catholics who see in him a leader attuned to their hopes and challenges. Insiders suggest that Pope Francis himself sees him as a natural successor. Reports have surfaced claiming that Francis has privately remarked, "I made my choice, Luis is my choice." Such an endorsement, if true, would carry significant weight, as Francis has repeatedly demonstrated a vision for a church that prioritizes the poor, embraces change, and seeks unity. And guess what? Reports suggest that Pope Francis made a trip to Asia in September, which could back these reports quite a bit. However, Luis's potential papacy would not come without challenges. His progressive stance on social issues and his association with Pope Francis's reforms may face resistance from conservative factions within the Church. Navigating these internal divisions while addressing external challenges, such as declining church attendance in the West and the need for transparency in addressing clergy misuse scandals, would require immense wisdom and resilience. Still, Luis's track record suggests that he is uniquely equipped to guide the Church through such complexities with grace and determination. In many ways, he represents the best of what the Catholic Church can aspire to be: a global, inclusive, and compassionate community rooted in faith and service. His ability to inspire hope, build bridges, and lead with humility makes him a compelling candidate for the papacy. With whispers